Good morning and happy 2025. It's mid-January. I am working on some winter projects here, so I'm ready for the spring overlanding season. Not that I don't go in the winter time, but I'm taking advantage of this time to do some stuff because we're expecting some snow coming. But it's actually raining right now, and I am in the back of the truck. And what I'm working on today is a seat delete for the rear. So let me just tell you what I got going on. So I've already removed the seats, which is pretty easy. Basically, two bolts. There's one back here, which is a real bear to get out. They have Loctite on it, and it's tough to get out. And then this is a reverse Torx here. That one's not too bad to get out, but that's basically what holds the rear seats in. So here and here, there's one here on the 60% side, and then two here. And what I'm doing is a little bit different than what I've seen other people do on online, and I haven't seen anybody do it this way. I have some 80/20 aluminum extrusion, and it's basically the light version 15 series, so 1.5 by 1.5 inch. And I got the aluminum 90-degree angles from 80/20 as well. Went to the hardware store and got some replacement bolts for these guys back here, and the reason I had to do that was those guys that came out from the seats, the factory seats, have a big washer on, so they don't fit here. Kind of hits that bolt there, that bolt head. So and then obviously these holes are pre-drilled, I think, for like an 8mm or something small, and the ones that I had to get to replace it are obviously a lot bigger. So I just used a step bit and drilled these guys out. Same things for here, I had to drill these out as well. But the concept is, we got this on here, I have adjustability to slide this thing back and forth as I need it to get it to fit perfect. And then I'm going to put the wooden platform over top of that with some drop-in T-nut slots into the slots there, and then I will bolt that down. I'm going to put some bed liner on the base. I'll do a little cutout in here to access that storage, and on the back side here, what I came up with is I just ripped down some plywood, took the routed at this channel, dropped it down in. These are the regular mounting points for the rear seat. There's hooks on the back that slide down there to keep them in place. So when you go to remove your seats, you have to undo the bolts and then lift up to get the seats off, but pretty easy to get out. And I'm going to put a piece of plywood here in the back, which I'll show you when I get around to that. And that I'm going to cover in this same type of upholstery material. And then we're going to put some T-nuts on the back side of this, and we'll screw through there so it's easily removable should I need to remove it. Couple screws there. There'll be some screws down here on the plywood with an angle, and then probably 4 screws, 2 per track here, and should pop right out if I need to do that. But I haven't had anybody in the back seat for probably about 4 years, so I think I'm safe to do this. It's going to give me more space, more storage, a better platform for my fridge. So that's the plan. That's what we're working on today, and going to get back to it. I'll update you in a couple minutes. All right, so a little bit of lessons learned here. The actual thread size for the factory bolts, I believe, is a M12 by 1.75. And when you go to get those at I got them at Home Depot, you can see the difference in the size of the head here, which is a little bit too big, and it interferes with the other screw going into the rail. So what I had to do was get a 7/16 14 thread count per inch TPI, and those heads, as you can see, are a little bit smaller, and they are able to clear the other hex head. So a little bit of a pain in the rear end having to go back over to Home Depot, but this is the stuff that happens when you're fabbing on the fly. So okay, so update. What I did here was put these nuts on the back side, and installing this up in here. Just push it down like so, and then attaching through there. With that, I kind of misdrilled the first time. I got too close to these guys here, so really doesn't matter. It's going to get covered with black carpet like this. So we're going to wrap this one, and this one, I made the cuts along the edge here to follow the plastic trim. So I'm going to wrap these because I need to allow for the thickness of the material here and over there on the other side before I cut that last panel out. And I'm going to use this piece of plywood down here as a guide to keep these straight across, and we'll do some final fitting, but fingers crossed this will work out the way I have it planned out in my head. We'll see. So this is what I'm using to attach the carpet to the plywood, and just got it set up here, and it doesn't really come out very nice, but try and get at least some decent coverage on here. It does say to spray those sides, meaning the carpet as well as this. Put that little hanger through so I can pick it up and maneuver it around a little bit, but seems about good. Alright, so I got it adhered. I think we're pretty good all the way around. I'm going to wrap these edges, staple them in place, and see how it came out. So what I'm using here are 3/8 inch staples and the pneumatic staple by arrow, and just kind of shooting these in around here, and I'll trim that up a little bit. Alright, so we got the first one done here, and I think it came out pretty nice. Carpet works nice. Got this off of Amazon. I will try and put a link in the description, but gonna get moving on to the next one. Trying to get a nice even coverage across here. Kind of satisfying watching this go on. But that looks pretty good. This only covered 2 pieces, and each one of those pieces was 2 foot by 2 foot. So there's a little bit in here, but not a lot. So this is the hardware that I'm using. Sorry about the glare. 1/4 by 20 by 1 3/4 machine screws, the T-nuts, and then just some flat washers, and just kind of pushing them through the fabric there, and we will secure them to the boards that we drilled out and installed the T-nuts on. So I'm getting ready to drill the holes, and I'm going to use the drop-in T-slot nuts and countersink, but just wanted to show you this little tip. This seems to work pretty good for finding the center of the channel and transferring it to the board that you're going to cut. So just kind of line that up, and you can see I was off a little bit when I was using just measurements and trying to transfer it, so probably a better way to do it. Alright, so I got these compression latches, and I think they're going to work okay, but there's one little problem. So put these in here, excuse the hole, this is a test piece, but basically comes up and latches itself. The problem is they give you these, which are supposed to go here, and I think it's meant for like really thin sheet metal. So I think I'm going to try and bend these flat, or take the grinder and cut it off, or I guess I can't cut it off, bend it out flat, or I will use some bar stock, just cut that, drill a hole through there, and call it a day. Alright, we got one mocked up over there and coated. I'm going to go back and give it another coating. The door drops down in there and sits on those strips of plywood. What I'm working on now is I put a little support brace here in the middle, because this one seat bracket didn't have 2 bolts to help support it, so that gives me a little bit of extra support there. And then I'm just looking at my under platform storage options here. The limiting factor is kind of this distance between this seat bump here and the door, and then also this to get stuff out. So this Craftsman box that I have seems to fit in there pretty nice, and there is a little bit of extra storage up front there, so I'm not positive what I'm going to do there yet. I also got these take a walk around here. I have this opening here, which I showed you, with that little strip along there, barely noticeable on either side, and that just gives me enough space to drop in the lid, which I will show you. And then I got these guys here, which are actually a underseat storage thing for a Tesla, I believe a Model 3. So I thought these might work for underneath here, just to kind of catch all. I'm not sure that I want to keep that though or not, because there is quite a bit of space between the top of that and the underside of the aluminum. So I'll play around with that a little bit. I think I can do a little bit better for storage options underneath here, but I might end up using these guys to just sit on top to store stuff. Kind of matches everything really nice, and they do have lids, so we'll keep that open as an option. So I'm going to drop this guy in, dry fit it, and then get to painting. Alright, it is all vacuumed out. These are the bare bones. I have the plywood platforms drying, waiting for another coat. But just put those boards on the back there, drop them into the seat brackets, put the T-nuts behind there to screw into. We've got the 15 series aluminum extrusion, which is bolted into the original seat platform holes. This one here only has one, so that's why I ended up putting that support brace there, just to give it a little bit more support. These guys here are super strong. They don't move at all. So this is the alternator charger, which comes up and goes to the EcoFlows. And then over here I have the solar panel wire coming in. And then I have another DC out, which goes to my light setup on the billy bars. So that's what all that is. I think I can bring all of that in front of the plywood, so I don't have to drill any holes or grommets through, and it should work. So just waiting for things to dry up, and I'll get this put back together, and then we're going to mount some multi panels to the back panel. I think I'm going to start on that now. So let me get to that. So this is the multi panels that I'm going to install, and they're again another Tesla product. I think it's for the Tesla truck, to slip down in that storage bin there. So I'm using them in a little bit different fashion here, and the idea is to mount them here. Not sure the configuration yet. I have 4 of them, so but then I will use these screws which go down in through here, and then the panel will mount on top of there and get screwed down through there. So it should give me a little bit of an offset and a nice, clean, professional look. So I may try and use a little bit bigger screw there. I don't need quite that length. This is only a 1/2-inch plywood here, but see how this comes out. But I think that should work pretty nice. Alright, so what I did here was I laid out how I wanted these things to be positioned, and then I ran these screws down through just to get them started. And then I'm pulling the panel back off and installing these. Unfortunately, you can't use a driver unless you have a really long, skinny bit, so it takes a little while to get them in there. And since this is 1/2-inch plywood, I put another 1/2-inch backer behind there just to give me a little bit better grip into there for the screws to hold. So I think that's going to work out good. Get these mounted up and see what it looks like. Good morning. I am on weekend 2 of this build, and it's day 4. it's been kind of on and off a little bit, but I'm gonna hopefully try and wrap it up today. And I had the last piece cut out for the passenger side, which would be the 60 portion of the 60/40 split, and I realized that the piece of plywood that I got was a different grade, so the grading on the face was a B, and it just didn't look great next to the A grading of the cabinet grade plywood that I had for the driver's side. So what I decided to do was wood putty, and I puttied over this thing to fill in some of the grain and imperfection. So I'm going to go ahead, sand this down, try and get a nice smooth finish, and then reapply the bed liner to this, and then let it dry a little bit. Hopefully get it screwed down today. And I did get the molding panels installed, and I think those came out pretty nice. Just threw up a couple things here real quick to make sure, but there's the standoffs. I think it looks great. This is the driver's side with the access panel, and picked up those Husky storage bins, which I think I can make work for under seat or under platform storage. So I'm gonna try and bang this out. I've marked the locations where those drop-in T-slots, T-nuts have to go, and we'll try and get rid of this hunker back on the back of the seat here and relocate stuff to over here. So yeah, coming along. Pretty happy with it. Alright, we're gonna blow this off and get the painting. Alright, so I believe I'm wrapped up, and this is the finished product. A little hard to film from here, but this should give you an overall. I think it came out pretty nice. This area is still drying on the plywood. I had to touch up a little bit, but I'll take you around the side. These release and open up. That I have a grommet coming for those wires there, so that'll clean that up a little bit. The molding panels came out really nice with the standoffs. I had an extra one, so I mounted it there in the middle. You can put your patches up here, attach real nice. And underneath, we just have this for a storage solution right now. So might do a little bit more work on that, but overall, truck is filthy. But it came out pretty nice. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Some more storage underneath here. This plug's going to come up for the EcoFlow, and that's for the solar in from the rooftop tent and the DC out. So a nice look. Alright, fast forward 1 week, and we have the multi panel pretty much fitted out. Still have some space on there for some additional stuff. I did put these guys on here, which I might use to put a cargo net or something for carrying groceries in the back seat here. So I have one over here and one over here. They just screw in, they work with the T-slot stuff. So we'll see how that goes. But right now I'm reinstalling the batteries. I have a third one, which is a River, which I have at the house. I don't have it here at the garage. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to install these little anchors with these 1-inch deck screws or lag screws in black. So I'm just going to go ahead and pre-drill and get the ratchet and ratchet those down. Then I can put some straps on to keep those batteries from bouncing around when we're out driving. So been debating a little bit on putting a fridge slide to pull the fridge out, but I am thinking I'm going to run this guy lengthwise here this way, only because it'll give me more backseat space if I run it this way. I'm going to lose some space in the front. One thing that I'm not really happy about, EcoFlows have both the access points on the ends, which makes this a little difficult to access, but I have a AC port on this side, and I put the USB port on this side. We've got the AC and the DC port there. So this goes to the alternator generator, and this guy goes to the lights on the bed rack. So I'm gonna get to this, get these things strapped down, and if we need to make adjustments, that's what we'll do. We'll make some adjustments later on, but for right now I think this should do pretty good. So